Forward.
It's not prepared. I already know what that face looks like. It's a, it's a face of that screenshot. I told you I took.
I think we're live. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Just put that down. Oh, welcome. Surprise, we're here again.
We're here again. Hope you're not sick of us.
I mean, how could you be? Just kidding. You could be. You could either be really sick of us or like, okay, cool. Hello, everybody. Good evening. My name is Karen from Quantum Healing with Tena Karen, and I'm here today with Tina.
Hello.
Just right after her really awesome premiere that we just saw an hour ago or so. So yeah, thank you for posting that. I thought that was really insightful because it feels as though there is a lot of like going on upstairs and trying to mentally organize things, trying to feel through things. So I could see how the mind and body coherence is not coherent. So because of all the stuff that's kind of thrown at us in different directions. So that was really good to validate a lot of people for that because yeah, that's a lot prevalent than we'd like to admit. I mean, there's so much news and with the technology thrown at you, you're always looking like ADD everywhere, scrolling, looking, videos, articles.
It's information overload, really. Like this is a new kind of thing that we're stepping into. I mean, we didn't always have this kind of technology where we have access to.
No, we had like 3 channels back in the day. Like, yeah.
Yeah, and encyclopedias, where else you had to go to the library.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
yeah, if you're privileged like me, I had dial up pretty early on in my life. but anyway, yes. So today we're just jumping on to talk a bit about quantum healing journeys, some body scan sessions that are new to our practice, but that we want to talk about more in case people are more interested in that instead of being limited to like a BQH session, for example. This is another way that we can journey in and to heal the trauma or whatever comes up in your body, but we'll go into further detail about that. And for those of you who are interested to just, if you have any questions, to please write them in the section here, the live chat section. So before we begin, please
caps.
If you'd like, ask the question in caps and like the video, please. Where would you like to start?
Well, let's see who's here. Dawn and M789. Hi, guys.
Hello.
Today's topic, like Karen said, we're going to talk about like quantum healing journeys and body scan sessions and what those are, what those feel like, what we can do when we're in the quantum field. So quantum healing journeys, or beyond quantum healing sessions, as we call them, they're really a way for you to get into a relaxed state of being. And when you get into that relaxed state of being, you are able to bypass the conscious mind, which is in the forefront all the time, which is the thinking mind, the part of you that is engaged with us right now. And when we're able to get into a more relaxed state of being through like a guided meditation, we can gain access to the subconscious mind. The subconscious mind is what stores all the information from this lifetime and past lifetimes. It's all there. It's just a matter of accessing those memories. So in a quantum healing journey, what you're doing is remembering. That's really all it is accessing those memories that are stored deep within you that pertain to what it is that you're currently maybe struggling with. For example, if there's this a deep unworthiness within you that you're self-sabotaging all the time, even though you want to heal, you want to do the things that are good for you, but you just always feel blocked and unable to get past that and actually take action to do the things that you know that you need, there could be a connection there to a past lifetime, possibly an agreement, even vows that you've made or oaths that you've taken that then carry on into this lifetime, affecting this life now. There could also be, if it is like a deep feeling of unworthiness or constantly sabotaging yourself, there could be something that you've done in a past lifetime that you feel incredibly shameful and guilty about, that you're now punishing yourself for in this lifetime.
Mm-hmm.
So the point of then accessing those memories is to get to the root of those problems those struggles that you're dealing with in this lifetime, to see where do they originate.
Mm-hmm.
And when we view those memories and bring them forward, what happens is the validation of that memory and the forgiveness that you find for yourself or others, or break those contracts, vows, agreements, oaths, whatever it is, we resolve that memory, and then that energy in your current life also dissolves.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're able to move forward.
Yeah.
That's the gist of what we're doing in quantum healing. People ask what is quantum healing, and it's really difficult to put words to. The overall idea is that we're accessing the quantum field, and the subconscious is the connection to the quantum field.
Mm-hmm.
Or the imagination itself is the connection to the quantum field where this information is stored. The idea is that we can also access that field to bring in the healing that we need. And so, yeah, I think, and people that are experiencing, for example, a lot of attacks, a lot of dreams of being harassed by entities and those kinds of things, we can also access those memories
Mm-hmm.
to resolve that. Yeah. And what does it feel like? Well, when you're in that space, it's kind of like you're in a daydream, right? And your conscious mind is still there with you, and it might actually be trying to analyze. Usually when you have your first session, it's trying to analyze everything and say, well,
it
that's
wants to make
sense.
Yeah. Or it wants to sound like it's making sense. I find, because like when I still get that sometimes, to be honest. Like if we're just going in blind, or I'll see like a little piece or a little thing, and I'm like, oh man, what does that mean? And then when you say it out loud, you can explore further and be like, okay, what does that mean? Or if you don't think to already ask yourself why you're seeing that or feeling that or whatever, Tina will prompt you and ask you. So to feel through it, if there's anything that comes up or comes through.
Yeah.
But yeah, totally, my conscious mind comes in still. It still does. And I find it's they work, they cooperate very well together, because one is like, are you sure that's what you're seeing? And then it prompts me to feel through it more, to validate that it is resonant, or if it's a deceptive, or if it's something else.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, because for most people, unless you're a true somnambulist, that kind of means like your conscious mind moves out of the way altogether and you're just deep in the subconscious. Most people are not. There's only 5% of people that are true somnambulists. So most people will experience the conscious mind, and it'll say things to you while you're in this deep state of relaxation, like, this is stupid, or It's just your imagination. Is any of this real? What if it's not real? What if I'm just making all of this up? It's like those kinds of thoughts, the worry that this isn't real or it's just your imagination. And it really doesn't matter if it is your imagination, because that's how your subconscious is communicating with you, and your subconscious believes that it's real.
Yeah.
And that's what I say about like past lifetime memories too to people. It doesn't even matter if they're actual past lives that you've lived or not. If that is being presented to you and it's not a false memory coming from an earthbound or an entity, if that's being presented to you, it's being presented for a reason.
Mhm.
And we just have to trust that that is going to be helpful somehow for something that maybe you need to know and understand and learn for your life. A lot of people don't even see past lifetimes anymore. Some people just go into these really incredible healing spaces to receive healing. Some people actually experience metaphors, like our session last week with the woman who was in the center of the waves that were coming in that like kaleidoscope like energy that she was in. And that was an extremely powerful experience. It wasn't a past lifetime, but it
Mhm.
was a powerful experience that explained so much to her, so much insight into what she needed to know and understand. So now that we've developed the body scan sessions, which are a bit different, because body scan is also a part of quantum healing sessions, but we've noticed that the body scan can be the most powerful and helpful part of the session itself. So we actually took that part out and made it a whole separate session, just to focus on the body itself and all the things that are coming up in the body, because most of us have so much stored there that we can actually make a whole separate session out of that. So
Mhm.
now what we're using the quantum healing sessions for is to answer questions that you have, like, where do I come from?
Mhm.
How did I get here? Like, am I from Earth, or did I originate somewhere else? Was I trapped and brought here, or did I choose to come here? Those kind of more spiritual questions we're using for quantum healing sessions now. And
Mhm.
anything and healing as well. Like if you want to see where is the root cause of this specific issue coming from. Now, the body scan sessions are different in that we're not going in with to answer those kinds of questions. We're not answering any questions at all. We're just literally, we're not even talking much beforehand and having like a pre-talk conversation about your life and things like that.
Mhm.
We're literally going right in. Again, a guided meditation to relax the body and mind, and then scanning through the body. So you are scanning through your own body with your own awareness. And the body is so intelligent that it's going to show you, it's going to bring your awareness to exactly what you need that needs to be released. So, for example, one of our clients, we were taken directly to the nose, which was different. We've never seen that before. And he had
Mhm.
this whole string of memories that came up in
Mhm.
reference to the nose, and then how all of that tied together, and also tied all of these emotions that he was storing in his body together. And then what we do is understand in the understanding of that and how it all ties together, it can then be released from the body,
Mhm.
and the energy just dissipates. The most recent body scan session we had was really incredible. And so part of the other reason why we separated the sessions in this way is because a lot of people are being attacked still in their sleep or otherwise, and need to know how to address entities on their own, how to take out implants, how to
Yeah.
release things that are stuck in the body. So that was really the main reason why we took the body scan session out, because when you're tapping into the body, the body can tell you so much. So you bring your awareness to that sensation and you can find out so much information. Like we saw, for example, that he had a hole in his heart area that was being eaten away by bugs. And those bugs were coming in through a portal that was opened in his back, and then devices that were put up and down the spine. So the whole heart was hollowed out, as if they had like stolen his energy and then placed these devices in his system. So then he was able to take out those implants, close down that portal, and suck out all the bugs, and then fill in that space to its natural energy. And
yeah, we felt the blockage too, like because he had a Dr. P RSR, and that we also felt that was before he had his body scan session. But yeah, that I couldn't even feel his heart area. So it made sense when he said it was chewed out because it wasn't there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This other really interesting part of that too, like he felt himself. He also had like this squid entity that was attached to him. And he also felt as if he was in some kind of rusted metal type, either box
and underwater.
chains were wrapped around him, and he was underwater. And
I think we saw it in a barrel or something like that.
Yeah, it was like he was thrown off, and we saw that he was thrown off a ship, wrapped in heavy chains, put in a barrel, and thrown off a ship. And that aspect of him energetically was still stuck under there and being harassed by this entity that had been following him for lifetimes. So in that body scan session, he got to stand off with this entity, who was working through one of his parents. A lot of these narcissistic parents have entities that are working through them. So he was able to stand up to that parent/entity, take back his power, give back all the energy that entity had laid on top of him. And then he was then free from all of that, taking out the cords, pulling out the cords, those kinds of things. And with the body scan session, either or session, quantum healing or body scan, we're able to walk you through how to do that. But specifically for those of you who want guidance on how to handle entities or implants or those kinds of things, the body scan session is going to be really helpful for that, because then you can take those tools and use them in your everyday life. If there are any things like that come up in a quantum healing session, which often they do, we also address them there. But I think now we're using those for like the bigger questions that you might have about your spirit, your soul, whatever you want to call it, your consciousness, yeah. So that's basically the difference between the two. They both kind of have the same effect, which is feeling lighter. After you release all of that stuff and take your power back, you're feeling lighter, more empowered, more confident, those kinds of things. So, yeah.
Question, it says, which is more effective, doing a live Zoom body scan session or remote? Well, they're all remote.
Well, they're all live. Like the body scan sessions, you have to be there for live on Zoom with us. But it would be remote. So they're not in person.
And I don't do we don't really encourage, we have surrogates for people who really cannot speak for themselves. I think that's the only time we'll really encourage it or be okay with it. But if you can take the time, put the time off to do it and to join us, that's the best, because that's the way that you'll learn, instead of it, getting done for you. it's good for you to know what it feels like to
Yeah.
actively scan yourself, just to make sure that there's nothing there, or that you can remove them, like learn how to remove them yourself in a safe place, in a safe way.
Right. And tuning into the body, into the sensations that arise. Some people are really surprised at the intelligence of the body. Like when we have the intention to do the body scan, the body will really show you where there's energy stored. Your hand,
Mm-hmm.
you might get like your hands get numb, or you feel a heaviness in your chest, or it's like these really strong sensations come up until we address them
Yeah.
and release that energy. Some people are really surprised by that. But yeah, the body is super intelligent. And when it knows that you're ready to address these things, it will show you. I just think
Totally.
it's incredible how that works.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
And very effective.
extremely effective. Yeah.
Yeah.
They both are. Quantum healing and um body scan sessions are extremely effective. And in our sessions, we're never connecting with anything outside of you. You're doing all the work, which is an amazing thing. Karen's there also to support you if you feel stuck, which very rarely people are.
Yeah, it's been really cool, like to see people just kind of go right in, because again, like to make a successful session, you have to feel safe, you have to trust yourself, you have to know that your mind will probably may talk, but you're going to say everything anyway.
Yeah.
So even what your mind's saying, like, this is dumb,
Yeah.
I don't feel like I feel dumb saying this, but I'm a bird, like,
No,
that kind of
yeah.
thing.
That's a really important point to make. Is that whatever you're experiencing in your session, whatever you're feeling, thinking, sensing, seeing, knowing, is just to let it come out. Even if it's, this is stupid, this isn't working, whatever it is, just allowing all the streams of consciousness to flow out of your mouth, speak them, because when you speak them, you're allowing it to release too. That's a way of releasing that energy. If it is like getting stuck, or you're feeling like, well, what am I supposed to say here? What am I supposed to do? Just say it all. Let it all out. Really,
Yeah.
that's the point of it. It's a release. It's really like a release session.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally.
And it feels kind of like a daydream, like I said, and it's a very different space to be in if you've never been in it before. Even though we're in and out of these states all day long, like when you're focused on doing a project or reading a book or watching a movie, anything that you're focused, like you're using your focused attention for, that's the state of mind that we're going for in a session. It's the same
Mhm.
thing. It's the theta brainwave state or alpha brainwave state, the state that you drift in and out of as you're falling asleep and waking up in the morning. It's nothing more than that. And
Mhm.
in those states, you're able to you have access to things that you don't in your conscious waking state. So knowing and trusting that whatever comes to you, whatever you hear, whatever you feel, sense, see, or just know, some people
Mhm.
have a really strong knowing and
Mhm.
they just know the answer. They know what's happening. And that's perfectly amazing too. Like however information flows to you is right. There's no wrong or right way to do it. It's just allowing and being open to whatever it is. And also, most importantly, leaving all of your expectations for what it's supposed to be like at the door.
Yeah, that's the most important.
Yeah.
Like, just see where it takes you. Everybody's journey is very different. The way you receive information is different. It's not always the same. So
Yeah. Yeah.
just go with it. Hello to Fuzzy75, Adrian369. Thank you for loving our streams. I Mark1. Hello. Thank you for being here. So we got, if I studied BQH and got certified, will it help me in applying the techniques on myself, or does it need two practitioners for it to work, like another conductor? Any advice?
Well,
Well, it would be good for you to have, if you haven't had your own session, to have a session.
yeah.
That way you can see both perspectives. It's good to
Mhm.
have the both perspectives so that you can understand what's going on when you're a practitioner. Like if your client is blocked on, how you can encourage them, suggestions. I find that's very helpful to be able to play both roles.
Yeah.
Um, yeah,
Yeah.
that's for sure.
I definitely recommend before you take the class to have a session, because you learn so much more from actually having it and doing it than you do from, receiving information. Um, but yeah, I mean, if you're interested in taking the course, I highly recommend it. It can be helpful to use on yourself or even, buddy up with someone to practice on each other. When you take the BQH course, you can also join the Quantum Healers community and swap sessions with people. And that's a good way to practice, but you can definitely use the techniques on yourself. Now, the BQH course itself is not going to cover things like entities or implants or like how to scan through the body or anything like that. It's really just teaching you how to do past life regression. Um, I think there's very briefly a mention of like what to do if a dark force entity shows up, and there's like a short entity release script to use, but it's other than that, there's it's mostly just teaching you like how to do the past life regression. But I love Candace Prague Goldman. I think she's amazing. I just had a talk with her today. And I love the course because it's open and heart-based and
It was a very
yeah,
easy course.
yeah,
Very it's not hard to. She lays it out there, very organized, and yeah, there's a lot of videos there too for your help, like to help you understand what's going on, and script that she gives you that is
yeah,
really good. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I enjoyed doing the course. It was really quick for me to do it.
yeah. I really enjoyed the course too. And like you said, there are videos and there are like sample
Yeah,
sessions in
exactly.
there, like the mock sessions, that kind of show you how the sessions go and what to expect and those kinds of things. So yeah, I mean, if you want to take the course, I do recommend it. But I also do recommend like having a session first to know what it feels like to be a client. That's
That should be like a
really important.
prerequisite.
Should be a prerequisite because that's the most important thing. I learned so much from my first session that you couldn't learn in a book or a course or anything like that. And
Mm-mm.
one of those things was that number one, you have to trust your practitioner fully and completely. Number two, you have to trust yourself. It's really an exercise in self-trust. And if you don't trust yourself and the information that's coming to you, it can be really difficult at first.
Mm-hmm.
So, really fully trusting yourself and allowing that information to come forward. The other thing about that is this, if you've watched a lot of QHHT or BQH or, hypnosis type sessions, and you see the higher self, how some of these higher selves come through, it it looks different than it actually feels.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it looks like when you see these perfect sessions, posted online, that everything's going smoothly and easily and the information's flowing and those kinds of things. What you're not seeing is the back and forth that might be going on in that person's mind, like we were talking about. So it looks a lot easier than it actually is for some people, especially those of us that are very left-brained and logical and analytical, like myself. It was a lot easier for Karen, but for me, it was very difficult to get past that. And the higher self part, or your divine inner wisdom, it's within you. It's not separate from you. It's not going to feel like some energy or force that takes you over to speak for you. It's you. It's just a more aligned version of you. And the answers you receive might actually sound very familiar because you're always connected to your higher self.
Mhm.
You're always connected. And so you might even start to doubt the answer because you're like, I already knew that. Well, yeah, you did. You know, because you know deep down. Once you get past that, the conscious mind, like you know these things deep down. And that's really all it is tapping into that inner wisdom. So, yeah. Any other questions?
What is the difference between BQH and PLR? What's
Well,
PLR?
past life regression
Oh, thank
is
you.
specifically geared towards seeing and viewing a past life.
Mhm.
Like if you're going for a past life regression, you know that you're wanting and having the intention to see a past life. Like we said earlier, with BQH, we leave it up to the person's divine self what they're going to be shown. And that's not always a past life. It might be a metaphor for what you need to know, understand, learn, and grow from. Or it could be, you could be taken to a healing space, or that's generally like the things that happens. It's like a metaphor for what you need to learn. You're taken to a healing type space, or you visit a past lifetime. So it's different for everyone. It's like literally every session we've had has been completely different for everyone. And we're just allowing the client's consciousness to guide us where they need to go. It's like we just leave it open to see what comes forward. So that's the difference, really. I'm not sure what the technique is truly for like just past life regression, if they do like healing work too, or they're just going in to retrieve information. I'm not sure. But RBQH sessions can be very long, sometimes up to 3 hours in that space of journeying. And we talk before about, you know, a little bit of your background, what you want to gain from this experience and those kinds of things. So I think past life regression is just, it's just shorter. It's just like you have an issue that you want to look at and you go in to see, okay, where's the root cause of this coming from in a past life? Yeah. I don't know what their healing techniques are, but
If there are any.
if there are any, yeah.
I don't think there are. I think it's very much into just curiosity type thing. And it's like, cool. And I move and then I close it off.
Yeah, I think so. Probably depends on the practitioner you go to too.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Well, what would you say? How has our practice evolved and how did it kind of like branch out into what it is now?
Well, I mean, it's evolved so much so quickly. I mean, from just, yeah, I mean, you know, when you take the BQH course, you get a general outline of how the session's supposed to go. And for the first couple sessions, you follow that outline, which is still very open and allowing of whatever needs to come forward. But yeah, our practice has evolved very quickly.
Yes.
Very quickly. I don't, yeah, into so many, because you can encounter so much during the exploration of consciousness. And that's really what we're doing, right? We're exploring consciousness, and consciousness is just so incredibly vast that there's really no way you could possibly stay stagnant. And really this work, I mean, that was taking the BQH course was and moving forward with the work to actually do it for others has led to has expedited our own like growth and expansion to like insane levels. Insane level. I don't know where we would be without without this now, you know, because we've seen so much, gotten to
Yeah.
experience so much.
Yeah. Because like we it's not like we started um tandem sessions right away, like where we do like BQH and then I go into hypnosis with the journeying with the client. We started off by offering like what we call in the bubble sessions, where it's like you could ask up to, is it 3 to 5 questions?
Yeah.
Depends. And I go under, connect to you, and then I answer your questions.
Right. And usually they're like little mini BQH sessions, surrogate sessions, where we see,
Tiny, tiny.
yeah, we see
Yeah.
like a past life scene or a metaphor for what you need to know and understand. We
Hmm.
do that, see what's going on there, and then we go into answering the questions that you brought forward for your own divine self. Yeah, when we started that was really cool and people were really interested in it. Um,
That was fun.
that was fun. And we did those for a while and then people kind of lost interest and we haven't really had any come up, but one recently. But yeah, those are fun. And it's a fun way to kind of dip your toe in to see what is it like, you know, what is this all about? But yeah, we evolved and just started experimenting.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. And then we did like after the bubbles, like there was we did some surrogates. So where, yeah, we did some sessions for
And what is a
dogs.
surrogate session? Do you want to explain what that is?
Well, it's just like us going into also BQH, like where I go under and Tina leads or
On behalf of
facilitates.
a client.
Yeah. So we can do, usually we do children, pets, people who cannot speak for themselves, like the handicap or people,
Disabled, yeah.
yeah, disabled, whatever. It's like
Elderly.
elderly. Yeah. We've
Yeah.
done some of those, like, and I mean, sometimes people ask us to do it for them and they could speak for themselves. I guess it's easier if you don't have the time,
Yeah.
but it really has to be like a, good reason. But because we always encourage, like, you should come and journey and do it yourself because
Right.
it's more profound when you're the one who is hearing yourself speak and go within yourself to get the answers.
Right. And knowing what your divine self feels like. And yeah, when it comes through you, I think we always encourage people to actually do it themselves in a tandem session.
Hmm.
Um, and save the surrogates, you know, for the people who really need them. Or, you know, I mean, we're not opposed to doing surrogates for people, but we do encourage you if you're able, if you have the time and you're able to speak for yourself, to do it that way because it can be very powerful. But there are people who either don't have the time, can't speak for themselves, and those kinds of things that need a surrogate session. And what is happening in a surrogate BQH session is Karen is acting kind of like a stand-in for you and accessing your consciousness on your behalf to bring through the information that will be helpful for your healing.
Yeah.
So we've had
Yes.
some really powerful surrogate sessions, really, especially for children.
Hmm.
Yeah. That they
Yes.
have seen like results from, like parents have noticed their behavior changing, you know, after.
Yeah, totally. Oh
Yeah.
yeah, practically all the sessions that we've ever done, even like for RSR
Hmm.
for children, really
Yeah.
cool changes. And but yeah, tandems are very similar to surrogates. Just I'm there doing the same thing. I'm tapping into your energy, but we go in together. So if you have like, you're not getting anything or you have that anxiety or you need clarity, I'm there to help you out. Yeah.
Hmm.
What do you call it? A hypnosis buddy or something?
Yeah. Hypnosis helper.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I love that. And I think it's so helpful. it kind of eases your nerves a little bit, right? Because when you're going in for a quantum healing journey for the first time, you might be really nervous. You might have a little bit of worry or fear that is popping up, anxiety, those kinds of things. But when you have Karen there as a partner, a buddy, a hypnosis buddy, you you're not as fearful or anxious because you know that if you do get stuck, she's there to back you up. And tandem sessions are amazing to me, the way they work.
Hmm.
Um, it's incredible how either you can almost be in the same space as someone, and if you're not in the same space, you're still in that like same stream of consciousness. And sometimes the client will be taken to a healing space if their trauma sometimes is too much
Hmm.
for them to see or experience again themselves. They'll be taken to like a healing space, and
Hmm.
Karen will bring through that past life trauma that they need to resolve so that
Right.
they don't have to experience that again.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's really interesting how it all works. Yeah, I'm still fascinated by it, really. I mean, it's become like so normal for us and like just a part of our everyday lives that we forget, I think, like how amazing it is. Or like, I remember when we first started, it was just so exciting, like the things we were able
Yeah.
to do. Yeah.
Yeah. It was just, you just wonder, like, what can you see? Or like, is it going to be the same? Is it going to be different? And yeah, we've seen it both. Sometimes we land in the same place, which is pretty
You mean you
cool.
and the client?
Yeah.
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 Yeah. And sometimes you see the same scene from different perspectives,
Hmm.
which that is really cool too.
Yes.
Yeah. But there's always just this really amazing, divine, ethereal energy that surrounds a BQH session. Even, even like before it even begins, the energy begins and begins to almost like it's gathering. And the signs and synchronicities that come forward, the information sometimes that even comes forward
Hmm.
before a session that is related to the client and what they're going to experience. The amazing physical manifestations of sessions that come up. Usually those happen afterwards.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the one that stands out to me, it happens every time. There's always some kind of like synchronized energy that happens with the sessions, but the one that stands out to me the most is when one of our clients saw herself as a blind girl
Mhm.
in her life, and had a difficult relationship with her mother. And we went on, resolved that or whatever. But she was not blind in this life, in this current life. She was blind in that past life. The next day after the session, she received a piece of mail from the Greek Society for the Blind with
And she's
her
not even
name on it.
Greek.
With right, she's not Greek nor blind, and it had her name on it. Like it wasn't just a flyer, it like had her name on it. I just thought that was so incredible.
Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah. And there's so many other things like that that happen around these sessions. It's just so magical.
Hmm.
Can you think of any off the top of your head?
That's what I'm trying to do. I'm like, what else? Because, oh, God, it's always like such a blur after. Like, we've had so many awesome tandem sessions that it's so hard to like. I wish we wrote them all down. That's the problem. We got to go
I
back
know,
through our emails and see like what they've written.
I know. I started to gather like some of those things, but then, you just get busy and forget. Oh, the one that popped up now was we were doing imagination exercises before the session, which we usually do to see how your imagination works, how you receive information. so that I know how information flows to you, and so you can feel how information flows to you. So in this imagination exercise, the client felt like she was blocked. She really wasn't, but she felt like she was. And so as we're walking through her home, because what part of the exercise is to go through your home and describe to me what you're seeing. She was describing the bookshelf. And I told her to pick a book off the shelf and tell me what it was. And it was a Carl Jung book. I can't remember the name of it now.
It was a red book.
Yeah. Yeah. And I told her to open a page and tell me what it said. She opens the page and says that there's green or red energy that she sees.
It's like all these colors or something.
Yeah, green, red, yellow energy that she sees, or color that she sees, but no words or anything like that. And she's doubting this in her mind, right? Why would she be seeing, these colors? She's doubting it. And I say, okay. And she puts the book back. After the session, she goes to actually pick out the book to see what's in it. The page that she opens the book to is an illustration with the same colors that she saw.
Yeah, that was cool.
That was really cool. Yeah. Mind blowing. So that was so validating for her that she wasn't just making it up. It wasn't her imagination. And she said that she had been meaning to read that book, but there was something about the book that had meaning to her. Too. So there was that connection too. But yeah, really, really interesting things happen. And it's just so magical and amazing to me.
Totally.
But the healing is the most important part of any of our sessions and the results that people get. And, you might not always notice them right away. Sometimes it takes that energy, some time to integrate. And you might look back in a month or 2 months or 6 months from now and realize that your entire life has shifted. That was true for me. Or you might have immediate results, like from our body scan session the other day. He said he was buzzing the whole night after the session, and he feels so much lighter, so much more empowered. He's now taking on the entities in his dreams and not being scared of them. And he's having a lot of entity dreams that are coming forward now, because I don't think they're dreams. I think they're actual memories. And the memories are coming forward now because he feels more empowered and confident enough to deal with them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because during the body scan itself, it was a lot for him to have to face that one entity demon thing that was following him for multiple lifetimes and that was acting out through his parent. So to be able to face that, get over the fear or face it head on was really big for him. So that's why I think now it's like easy peasy. He's like, do I just blast them? I was like, yeah, you do whatever the hell you want. Like, that's the thing, like when we're in it, he's like, how else should I do it? I'm like, oh man, I wish you could see my belt. Like what I have a remote control, like to press pause or to do whatever I want. I don't know, I have so many knives. I have so many like gadgets that you can use, whatever you want.
Right. So having the point of having the body scan or the quantum healing session is to give you those tools, to like share those tools with you so that you can use them too. You can use them in your everyday life and not be afraid of entities anymore, because once you face them head on, they shrink down and you gain your power back and you stop being afraid of them.
Right.
Yeah. So he started having, these dreams come forward. He was taking on entities. He's not feeling that deep despair he had about his past, the things that happened in his past. He's released that person, the parent, it's not in the forefront of his mind all the time. So it's like the healing is integrated and he's coming into a more centered and grounded place just from that one session. And that's amazing. You know?
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any questions, guys? What was your favorite session? Do you have a favorite?
I have to say, like my favorite one. Well, interesting ones. I really like the first one we ever did. The first one. That was just again, I had no expectations or what to see there.
Do you want
But
to
it
explain
was
what
super
happened in
magical.
that?
Well, we visited a lot of places. Like there was like an Egyptian, like all the women
Oh, the
gathering.
tandem session. Yeah.
Yeah, well, which one are you talking about? Like body
I thought you were
scan?
talking about your first session.
Oh no, I'm talking about tandem. Was really interesting. It felt very like, I think just for me, from my experience, to go in with somebody who's just as connected was really cool to have that openness and like, let's just see where it takes us. And we
Mhm.
were in sync. I felt all of our energies were very much in sync. Everyone was very much open. Um, yeah, that's very helpful. It's like the natural flow of things, you know, like I can't, like when I'm talking or we're on a chat or whatever, if there's a block in energy, I can't speak.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like we know when there's a block.
Or when someone's not fully present or paying attention.
Yeah, there's an energetic block.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it
That
stuns
session.
my voice.
Yeah. That session was amazing. The way you two just
Did you see
kind of,
that? Obviously
yeah.
are ignoring my question. I don't even see your question.
Okay.
So you
I
know
don't
not to follow
know.
you anymore? Okay. Bye. I don't know. I don't see your question. If you want to write it again. It's really, do you see it? Because it's, I don't see it.
No, I don't see it.
I've never even seen this.
No.
Anyway, see ya, I guess.
Okay. That's weird.
Yeah. I hope people know too that we don't see all questions. Like they get blocked sometimes from YouTube, which we've
Yeah.
mentioned before. But
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyway, you sound really angry anyway, so you shouldn't be here.
Yeah. I mean, like a more suitable way would be to like say, you know, hey, did you see my question? You know, like
Yeah, it's like a
that's
tantrum.
aggressive. Yeah.
Well, it's a little tantrum, so.
Okay. But anyway, that session was amazing because just the way the energy moved and you guys were literally in sync, so in sync. And it was all about the divine feminine, that session. And there was a lot of like trauma healing
You're
that
like, you
we
can't say that, divine feminine. It's so new age.
whatever. And yeah, and as you drifted through those things, it was also, it was a tandem session to see kind of what would happen, but it was also a little bit focused on Dana and her healing, what she needed. You guys saw that really cool
Okay.
really
Sorry.
cool scene in the woods.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember it, but I just remember like the bits and pieces, like everywhere she landed, I was like, holy shit, yes. Or I went, she's like, yes. And it was everything. But so in unison, very much uh like a lot of love. Like really, it felt very harmonious. Um, yeah, and she got exactly what she needed for that. I think we did too. I mean, there was healing in that too.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, we went to Egypt. We saw like where we were all like these beings, these like goddess like beings, women in this like underground like mystery school. So that was really cool to see. And then we
Oh, yeah.
went to
Mystery school. Yeah.
yeah, it
True.
was, I think. And then we went to this other place where again it was like a gathering of women, and it was at more recent times, but not recent. And it was another gathering of women. There was light language that came through, which at the time we were, listening to light language and things like that, but I had never had a reaction to it. I never felt anything from it or anything like that. That was the first time I actually felt anything from it. Like if I felt it in my body, it made me cry. Like it was so powerful. Yeah, that session was just beautiful. If anybody wants to check it out, I think it's called Divine Feminine Tandem. It should be on the Tandem playlist. It was very interesting session.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was our first tandem. And then after that, I knew that this had to be a thing. Like this
Yeah, it
had
was
to,
a very special thing. And I felt as though there was a lot of people who were going to benefit from a session like that, like you said, because if they have fear or not fear, or they feel blocked or they can't, the, what do you call it? The performance anxiety of it,
Mhm.
that there's a backup
Yeah. And
to be present
even
for
if they
it.
don't, there is something about the power of three,
Mhm.
because it's all of our energies in this session, my energy, your energy, and their energy, and being held in this sacred space, really feeling safe. I think it just feels so powerful to me. And that session I know was that powerful, just to demonstrate to us, uh sorry, I'm like losing my words today, to demonstrate to us, I guess, what it could be, the potential of what it could be, how powerful those sessions could be. And they still are. So
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
that was a really beautiful session. And yeah, she received a lot of healing from that. Oh, remember she felt it up and down. She's felt her spine realign.
Oh, yeah, that's true. She also had that kind of like profound physical
Yes.
experience too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And these profound physical experiences can happen in sessions. The thing about it is we cannot guarantee miracles.
Mm-hmm.
We can't
No.
guarantee
Well,
miracles.
that was actually my next point was, like wanting, or they hear from the QHHT community that they've had profound healing experiences from one session. If that happens in a session, that is fabuloso, but we don't guarantee that. Like,
Right.
there's no way that we're gonna be like, yeah, come with us, like we're gonna heal you. No way. Will we ever say that?
No.
No.
Yeah.
There's
And
so much more you need to do than that.
yeah, what I always say to people is we cannot guarantee a miracle, but it's always worth a shot.
Yeah.
Always worth a shot. We never take it out of the picture, to say, oh no, that's not going to happen. We're
No.
open
Yeah.
to a miracle happening,
Yeah.
but we can't guarantee that, because they do happen. I mean, one of our clients felt her foot realigning, her bones moving back into place in the session itself. We
Yeah.
had to take that video down, but that was one of the other most incredible physical healings that someone has had.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was really powerful too. So we know that it's possible, but there are a lot of factors involved in healing. Um,
Yes.
One of those is, is it in your highest good for that healing to occur? Have you learned the lesson from whatever it is you're supposed to learn? And we know that this is not a school, but sometimes there are things that you need to learn from your pain, that you've signed up for
Mm-hmm.
to learn from, that you've contracted. So there's that, and there's a lot of other.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff. There's so many factors. That's why we recommend to have a remote spirit release before, so that we could get rid of whatever. Maybe it's in that. If maybe it's in, it'll be found in the protocol. But even at that, you know, it is good to have like a clearing once in a while. We recommend people to have them, just so that if you're not going to actively do the work to get, get it checked, but we want people to learn how to do it so that you don't have to depend on us to do it. That's the
Right.
whole point of the whole sovereignty thing and taking your power back.
Yeah. So let's talk about sovereignty. What is your definition of sovereignty?
Oh, God, just being in charge of my life, being accountable for everything that comes in. That way I have the power to heal it, to remove it, to not be in fear of it, like not having any attachments to it. There's a lot of things around sovereignty for me. It's really just taking accountability for my life and being able to empower myself through my own existence, physical existence and spiritual existence, whatever.
Yeah. And funneling that kind of energy, that energy of sovereignty into our work with clients and helping them achieve that sovereignty.
That's what we want. That's why we challenge people in thinking. And I like that people challenge us too, like at least to get to whatever, like to consider information. We want that. And we just feel through it and we're like, great, it's cool, the juggling concept.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what it is. Like, are you able to hold the multiple pieces of the puzzle and juggle them and not hold one piece?
Yeah.
But know that you're holding the puzzle.
Yeah.
All 5,000 pieces.
Right. Ultimately, we're here to help you empower yourself. Right. And we're not healers. We're guides. We're guides for you.
We're spirit guides.
Please don't trigger anyone.
We're spirit guides and we heal you with our love and gratitude
and light.
Yeah. Love and light.
Yeah, we're guides. We're here to guide you in how to connect with your divinity, your divine self,
in
your
a balanced way,
and your power, just guiding you back home to yourself.
Yeah.
So, and that's really why I chose to do this work, because it wasn't about healing someone. It was about helping them tap into their own inner healer.
Yeah, that's really profound. It is.
Because we all can do these things. That's it. Like, we all can do these things. We're all psychic. We're all healers. We all, have telepathy. We all can,
you can access your gifts.
Right.
If you really want to unblock it. Yeah.
Yeah. We all have the ability to heal ourselves, and it's just knowing how, like knowing how to go about that.
Totally.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, people have to really want it. I think that's what we want to attract in people, is to really want the healing, to be free, to be sovereign, to take accountability for what you can, take the power back, make, much more sound and grounded choices. I understand, like the whole matrix topic about, like, for me, I would rather be in a space of happiness or contentment versus feeding the matrix with my misery and suffering and victimhood. So I'm not in a space where I'm going to kill myself. So while I'm still here, I'm trying to build quality of life while I'm still here. So I'd rather feed it, if it is feeding, via my happiness or my contentment of my existence now, than the opposite. Because I mean, they fucking ate, they fed off me for 30 years. So, and they still feed off me, like when I'm still, because I'm still not healed. I mean, we're never healed, right? But it's like we all go through the ups and downs. It's just like, how fast can you
Go
feel through
through
it
it.
using the tools that you've gained? And it's okay to have those downs where you feel like you're drowning. It's good because it's still showing you a wound that's still present. So if you could sit with that and go through your growing pains, then I feel like when you give yourself permission to do that, it doesn't feed as much as if you were to, succumb to it and be like, well, like putting more salt on the wound than doing something about it,
Yeah.
or understanding why you're still hurting or why it's hard or what's it showing you. And then after that, you patch that shit up and you're like, cool, what's next? And the cycle goes longer and longer and longer. And you can live in that contentment.
Right. Yeah. Because, yeah, I mean, the way this place is designed, there are always ups and downs, expansion and contraction, expansion and contraction, and they're always coming back around to the same things. They're just new layers of the same things, right? And
Yeah.
it gets easier each time.
Yeah. I'm currently in a contraction phase, but it's because I asked for it, actually. I asked to manifest to bring the unconscious conscious. So I wanted all my stuff to come out, and it's not coming out in memories, it's not coming out in anything. I still have my core wounds in there that I'm always working through, but I feel like it's more of a body sensation of anxiety, but I know mentally nothing's happening. I know nothing in my world is creating the anxiety. I'm not focusing on anything in the past, and I'm not really focusing on anything in the future. So it's really my body release. So if you can sit with that and understand that, okay, yeah, I'm in it, I have anxiety, then you are now in a space of not needing to do the mental stuff, but the body healing, the somatic healing for me. So it's a lot easier than what it was before, because once you feel anxiety and you have no idea, or you don't have the tools, or it's not automatic yet, I think this was a really good indication for how far I've come in my healing work, that it's automatic for me to recognize. I'm like, you're fine, but it's coming out, you're purging, and to support the body and to hold the body and have compassion for it. But
So
yeah,
that's
before,
what you call an emotional flashback, right?
an
Where you don't
emotion,
have
yeah,
the memories of it,
yeah,
but it's emotionally coming forward from the body.
yes, and it could affect your present. So because of that anxiety, it could create like moments of impatience, not feeling out of, or you're feeling
Irritability.
irritability, out of control. And so that's the consequences that I have to deal with in the present of, the ripple effect of the purging. So that is what I'm responsible for as well. But yeah, like I used to, like when I would be in a space like this, automatically my head would go, what is it? Like, are you lonely? Are you mad? Like, what's happening? Like, is something happening that, you know,
It's good that
but
you can recognize those. And, a lot of people just exist in that they don't know what's happening and then take it out on other people around them. But it's good when you can be conscious and understand what's happening to you. Not
mhm,
everybody can do that.
yeah,
Hold on, I have to like go out.
it's okay. Yeah, it took a long time. I mean, a long time. It took active and continuous work for me to be hyper aware of what is going on in my body, in my mind, checking in on my, the inner child. I know when the inner child energy is there because I feel as if I'm small, like smaller. I'm already small. I'm like 5'1", but smaller. And so it's constantly checking in with yourself. I get a little suspicious when I don't feel like an emotional charge. So sometimes I just check in, like, is there a block happening? Am I in fight or flight? Because usually I have patterns, when I'm in a fight or flight response, or events are happening one at a time and constantly, it could be very overwhelming on my system. So like this happened to me back in October. My grandmother died. That was really traumatic because I was there when she passed away. It was a very peaceful, like whatever, but it was the first death I've ever witnessed physically. So that happened. I took my kids out of school to homeschool them. We were working like crazy too. So I was always on the go, probably not fully grounded in my body for sure, because of, there's just so much going on. And then I had a friend that had passed away. So there was a lot of energy that was just passing through. And we were going to go to the US because the borders had just opened. So planning to take the big trip over to drive the kids and to go to the US. So there was just like everything. So I was like in a state of like, okay, it's like go, go, go. I gotta be, like really in my zone, in my center. I think also during that time too, I was getting distracted via like metaverse stuff, NFTs, crypto, like that kind of stuff too. So that there's also an artificial intelligence component like in there too that was playing off of me. So yeah, that was an example of like me just being very stiff, not being able to feel, I guess, organic. I guess Tina felt that my energy was a little off when I came around, but it was a lot to sift through because so many things had happened all at once. But then being able to recognize them one at a time and do the grieving, do the getting into the zone of like being teaching the kids, and then trying not to overcompensate because I'm bringing the children to visit her. So I thought that was really hard because I didn't want to, ruin or like her space by bringing my energy in with the children. So there was a lot of shit that went on in that time. So anyway, all that to say, that was like a big chunk, an example of what I went through. But that's why I have to make it a point to check in with myself if I feel like maybe I'm emotionally detached or something like that. So I have to check and be like, okay, is there something blocking my heart? I go, are there cords? It's not a way of being paranoid or anything like that, but it's just like, yourself so well that you want to check in to see if there's anything that could be blocking. And I think that's a healthy way. It's not, these are things we can't see, but if you know yourself so well, you'll know when something's off, or if you're going through something and being like, oh yeah, I didn't even acknowledge that. And then anyway, there's multiple methods.
Yeah. And speaking of healing, because this whole video is about healing, right?
Mm-hmm.
For me, ultimately, healing is about freedom.
Yeah.
Freedom has been my motivation for healing. Freedom from the matrix. We talk about the matrix and we talk so much about healing because it's the healing that frees us from the matrix.
Yeah. I don't feel that pain anymore. That deep dread and pain, like it's just there.
Yeah, always there.
It's that
every day you wake up with it and you feel that anxiety before you even open your eyes.
It's fucking dread and pain.
Yeah.
I don't have that anymore because of the, being able to recognize all my whatever I'm feeling, whatever I've suppressed down there.
Right. And doing the work to parse through, what is all of this that I'm feeling? What is all this heaviness? What is this dread, this fear, this anxiety, all of it? And when you start to work through it, you start to feel better and you start to feel free, and you stop feeding the matrix with that fear, with that dread, with that anxiety.
Yeah.
You stop attracting entities because you're not holding those vibrations in your body anymore. Like, this is freedom. When you
Right.
can exist inside of the matrix, but not be a part of it, you're transcending it through your
Yes.
emotional state. It's your
Yes.
emotional state that drives the matrix. Why do you think they're constantly creating things to instigate emotional reactions in people? It's because that emotion is what's driving it. It's literally driving.
Yeah, and it's poking at their vulnerabilities. It's poking at where they're traumatized, their
Right,
fear buttons.
right. It's creating more trauma and more trauma and more trauma. But when you heal yourself and you reach a level of freedom that those things don't affect you anymore. This is why we talk so much about it. And people say, well,
It's a belief system. Well, it's a state
no,
of being for me. I mean,
no, people say that it's just kind of love and light to talk about healing. I mean, one of the comments on our last video was that there's too much focus on healing and not enough focus on freeing yourself from the matrix, but that is the
that's
freedom.
how you free yourself from the matrix, by healing your pain. So you're not feeding, the matrix is not feeding off of your pain.
Hi, Sam. We're back again. We're
Hi,
hoping people aren't
Sam.
sick of us.
Yeah, because like we come and then we disappear. So we're like, here we
Well, we
are.
haven't had a lot of work lately, so we've had more time to make videos and connect with you guys.
Yeah.
So we use that time to do that. Yeah. And we're just talking about how really healing yourself frees you from the matrix. Freedom has always been my motivating factor for why I have healed myself.
Mhm.
Always. I always knew from all of the hard things I've done, I always knew that there was freedom on the other side if I could just get through this, facing the fear head on and getting through it. And
Yeah.
knowing that there's freedom waiting for me here. I just have to get there, you know? And when you
Yes.
get there, it's the most amazing feeling.
Oh, totally. I Right. I was just so sick of fucking suffering.
Right. Right. Yeah, it's the suffering, it's the trauma that is driving this place.
Yeah, the old
And when we
program of blaming others doesn't work anymore.
right. And when we stop suffering, we stop feeding it.
Yeah.
They have nothing to feed on anymore when you're
Yeah.
not suffering.
Yeah. Because if you're not holding on to anything, when you die, it's fucking blast off. I'm out of here.
Right. So healing for me is releasing all of my attachments to everything, healing all the past life trauma, wrapping up, everything from the karma that I came in with, the contracts that I came into this life with, as far as family and relationships are concerned, wrapping all that up and being like, no, like I'm done with this. I'm not doing this anymore. So, and then finding forgiveness for those people, for how they have hurt you, and forgiveness for yourself for how you played a role in that as well, because no one's perfect here,
Nope.
especially not me. I'm definitely not perfect. I made a lot of mistakes in my life, and that's okay, because I forgive myself for those mistakes and move forward. And if it weren't for those mistakes, I wouldn't be here right now. So I know that they were also an important part of getting to where we are now. So finding forgiveness it's not about going to your abuser and saying, I forgive you.
Mm-mm.
but it's about releasing yourself from that attachment. Like our client in his session did the other day, releasing himself from that attachment and saying, okay, I let you go now. Like I don't need this anymore. It really is such a big step. And that's also, forgiveness is also being kind of demonized in this polarization that's happening.
How
So
is gratitude? Is it because it's the word? Is that a buzzword?
yeah.
I saw the video that was in group that talked about how that's a new age deception,
Mhm.
but I don't know. I don't resonate with that whatsoever. I find that has helped me so much because I had nothing to be grateful for before. And what did it boomerang back to me? Nothing. It gave me more misery and shit because that's what I was calling to my, that's what I was attracting.
This
But
is what I
then
mean about the polarization that's happening and now gratitude is a deception. I mean, since when? Like how, how,
so you can't
how is
say like
gratitude
you
a
can't say
deception?
is thank you part of that? Like is that gratitude? Because I mean like when I'm thankful, like you helped me out, thank you.
Well, someone in our comments on the last video said something about it leading to stagnation, and that's why it's a deception.
What do you mean stagnation?
I guess if you're grateful for what you have, you don't strive for more. I'm not sure what the thought behind it is.
Yeah,
Uh,
I'd like to know. Maybe I should watch the video. I think I should watch the video because I don't understand. It doesn't make sense to me.
right. But, I
I
can
just
understand that in a way. Okay. Even if you want to say that gratitude leads to stagnation. Okay. But like I was saying, every value or whatever has its shadow and light, even love. Right. But we always need to come back to the middle. We're not using gratitude as a way to stay in one place, stay stagnant. We're using gratitude to give thanks for what we appreciate, for what we're grateful for. When I was sick and in the depths of fucking hell, gratitude is what started to pull me out of it. I would watch videos of people who had no arms and legs. And Karen and I joke about this, but it's true. People who exist in this world with no arms and fucking legs, and they are grateful for their fucking life and they make the best out of it. And they get out of bed every single day and do the best that they can. And they're actually happy human beings. And here I am with 4 limbs and being a miserable asshole.
right.
I'm sorry, but I needed to shift my perspective and start being grateful that I had 2 arms and 2 legs. And that really, when you see things like that and see somebody always has it worse. There are billions of people in this world that are starving.
Mm-hmm.
I'm grateful every day for the food that I have and the clean water. I don't have to walk miles to get fucking water. I can turn on the spigot and it comes out, even if it has fluoride in it. Who gives a shit?
Mm-hmm.
It's not dirty mud from the fucking river. Like it's those, if we don't focus on the things that we're grateful for, it's really easy to spiral down into a really deep, dark abyss.
Yeah, and it's balance. I think God, it's just so easy to just like put it all in one group.
Yeah.
It's just throw it in the basket or what did you say, the baby water and all that stuff? Like just throw it all out. Like it's not even that's fucking weird to me.
Right. And what they're basically saying is gratitude is a new age thing. Like, no, it's fucking not.
No, that's been around before the new age thing. That's weird.
It is weird. It's weird.
That's
And
a weird,
that
that's extra.
that would really, that the whole thing with gratitude was really one of the things that, like, all right, this is enough now. Like when I saw that, I'm like,
Yeah, that's when you
taking
know
it
that they're
too
just
far.
pulling at anything.
Yeah. We've taken it too far now. Like,
I,
yeah.
I'm just waiting for the next video to be like, what's it called? Deception. Namaste. Like it's so dumb. You're just whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. Sam says, I know a one-legged musician called Legacy who makes a joke of it.
Right.
That's great. Yeah, I mean, it's true, and that's true. Like that,
I
what I
find
just said
victimhood
is
is stagnant,
true. Yeah,
like,
victimhood is stagnant, right?
but that's more accepted because it's like, well, it's like just using like this matrix as
It's
an
cool to be a
excuse.
victim. It's cool to be
Yeah,
a
it's
victim
cool to be a
now.
victim because like, well, I was stuck on, I'm stuck here.
And that's true in mainstream society as much as it's true in the spiritual world, which blows my mind because we're supposed to be conscious in the spiritual world, but we're so not. Like we're so not.
No, people think they are, but they're fucking not because, or they're very good at knowing all the theory, but they
It's
can't apply it.
intelligence,
Yeah, they can't apply it.
right? It's all intellectual. It's
No,
all intellectual without any wisdom.
it is very hard to apply, but that's what makes it very well rounded. It's applying your wisdom
Right. And
or
what
doing
is
the hard
where
thing.
does wisdom come from though? Wisdom comes from healed pain. If their pain is not healed, then they don't have any wisdom.
Make that into a t-shirt. Where's abstract? Abstract. Make a t-shirt. I'll buy that one.
Yeah. Gratitude is flow. It moves and is alive. I absolutely agree with you.
It
Gratitude
is.
does not lead to stagnation. What nonsense. Gratitude is what opens the heart to allow for more divinity to flow. And with that, all the wisdom of the heart. Absolutely. Hi, Born and Reborn. Good evening.
Hello, hello. Good to see you all. Thank you all for participating.
He said, did we slip into a parallel universe where this T and K go live every day?
I know.
did.
I know.
We just
I
have
know.
so much to say.
So much to say.
No, we've been a little slow in work lately, so we thought we'd catch up with everyone, and we just have a lot of energy moving through that needs to be released and spoken about. And yeah,
Yeah.
so it's good to see you all.
Oh yeah, and also in my grand purge of like bringing the unconscious conscious, I had a massive revelation which I can't really share here, but I mean like in detail. But yeah, that there's so many dark energies working in the background, very close to home, and a lot of things that make sense within like let's say the family dynamic and
That
weird
download you
occurrences.
got was wild. I was just like, whoa. That's so
Yeah, and I got this download just by carrying my daughter. It was like she was able to give me all the information. I couldn't take it. I was like, okay, I'm putting you to sleep and I'm gonna clear us now and cut those dang cords.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. There was a hidden octopus in my blind spot.
Mhm.
Oh God.
Hidden octopus.
Yeah, Ursula.
Ursula. Yeah.
It
Interesting.
was the crone. It felt like the crone energy. Was the crone energy like the one that Kim Gogan was saying that was killed? Okay, but it felt as if like when maybe that one went, like part of it went to, or they have delegated
Spread out.
crones
Yeah.
in the world or
Mhm.
wherever on this matrix plane.
Mhm. Yeah.
Just like how we saw that's probably why we saw that demon that we had slashed that had scattered into insects everywhere.
Yep. Yep. Yeah. It's very interesting. I briefly looked at Lawrence's video earlier and he was talking about this plague energy.
Mhm.
And it's interesting because this entity that wears the plague mask has been
Mhm.
coming to a lot of us in group. A lot of us have been seeing this entity. So, and also the insects that have been coming around and things like that, flies, wasps,
How's
what else?
Harry Mantis doing? Yeah,
Oh,
Flower
I
still
didn't
there?
see him today. No,
Okay. Tina
I
has a
think
mantis.
he's a good one. He's a good one. He's a little baby. I don't know where he came from. It's this big little baby
Came
man.
through a little multiverse portal, Doctor Strange, you know.
I love that movie, Doctor Strange. That's so good. And the second one's really good too. I didn't finish it, but I started it. We never
Yeah.
finished it, did we? No.
No, we still have to. There's so much to do.
Yeah, but that was really, really good.
But we'll have more time to catch up on things, I think. Maybe, maybe not.
Yeah. But yeah, healing is about freedom, ultimately. Freedom from this matrix. We're Karen and I, we're not trying to change this place. I don't think
No, we're
to,
not
like,
doing
break down the construct of the matrix. I don't think we can do that. But the way I see it, and I talked to Candace about this today because she asked me, and I know Candace always holds out hope. She does. She's so hopeful that something good is going to happen one day. But the way I see it is it's just going to continue to polarize. And, as it does, the extremes are going to get more extreme. And, but, eventually, maybe 1,000 years from now, it might come back around somehow into unity. But I don't see that happening
Yeah.
for at least I don't see it happening in our lifetimes.
No. I think we're so far gone in a sense of the collective, because again, what we've learned apart from like, the new age stuff where you got to work for the collective. No, it's really about individual growth and freedom. And
Disconnecting, well, for myself, I won't tell anyone what to do ever, but for myself, I used to get battered by the collective energy, like battered by it. I was so deeply connected to the collective that whatever was going on out there affected me so deeply that I would feel it physically in my body.
maybe you don't feel it, or you feel it now, maybe in a different way, because like half the majority of the collectives are robots now.
Well, yeah, I think there's an aspect of picking up on that energy for sure. But I don't feel it anywhere the way I used to. Once I made the decision, okay, I'm disconnecting from this now, like taking myself out, and not having to change it, not trying to change it, not being hopeful that it's going
No,
to change.
no.
It is what it is. And
Yeah.
I don't know if we have the power to change it.
No, I think if everybody did their own individual work, then the collective would shift.
Right. But that requires people to do the work. And
Right. It's
right
not like
now, it
two.
feels like everybody's just victimized. That's what it feels like.
Yes, and they end up being their own black hole, and it's too much. Like, there's no way that there's going to be like a handful of us that are actually actively wanting to heal, to carry that dead weight. Like, because they're like, oh, poor me, or, this is what happened to us. Yeah, it happened to us too.
Right.
But
And
I'm not hurting by it anymore.
I do think that there is something to the ripple effect of our healing. I do think that ripples out energetically and affects the people around us at the very least, our family, friends, people that we have contact with. They,
Mm-hmm.
even if, you don't talk to them about these kinds of things or whatever, they experience the shift in your energy.
Yeah. No, totally.
Wouldn't you say so? Like,
yeah. Yeah, like my parents had a lot of worries about my life. I mean, like, being single mom, divorced, like not having a secure job anymore, all the things. But my parents don't even, it's crazy. Like when they don't say anything, or well, they never did. But I mean, like, I don't feel their energy around it, that they're worried about me at all. They know I'm doing pretty well for myself. I'm happy. I'm
free.
Yeah. Yeah. I do feel that.
Yeah. And part of our freedom too is releasing ourselves from all these limiting belief systems.
Yeah. I used to, if you go videos back, I mean, I would talk about my family and how much it really hurt to be around them, like grieving them because of, like what's happened with the pandemic and all the,
Shocks.
yeah. And now it's like, I've just like accepted it. I can go there. I can observe. I don't need to intervene in their storylines or have to plant any more seeds. I don't care anymore. Like, I don't need to. They're in their own thing. I let it go. And I can still enjoy their company and vice versa. And that's it.
Yeah.
We have our experience together and then we do our own thing. Like it's
Right.
fine. It's a lot more peaceful than what it was. But really, like no one was in a state of torment but myself.
Right. Right. And that's an important point to make because so many people have also experienced that. Being the awakened one within their family and watching their family members make decisions that might not be the best for them. And, get into the argument about the plague and all of those kinds of things like that brought up a lot of division within families and still is ongoing to some degree. And I think that's something a lot of people had to work through, and it was really painful and traumatic for people. And
Yeah,
then,
it's really
trying
traumatic
to
for me.
wake people up,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
and
You
and then
just
when
want to
you
save
can't,
them. You go back
right,
into your saving identity.
right, you want to save them. Of course you do. You love them,
Right.
you love them, but then you have to let it go at some point and realize they're never going to get this. They're not going to wake up. They are who they are. And just like that, you want them to accept you for who you are, you have to accept them for who they are and love each other and get along and be together anyway. Who cares in the end?
Mhm.
Who cares? None of it matters. The only thing that really matters in the end is love.
Yeah. It's just my injustice self in there.
I know, and that's the same for a lot of people. I've been pretty lucky where not everyone in my family got the shots. But so I didn't have to deal with those kinds of things. But yeah, I mean, I can understand it. Absolutely. I can imagine that if you were my parents, I would probably be freaked out and grieving and all those things too. Yeah.
Yeah. That was a long time ago. I mean, like just bringing myself back to when I when they were telling me that they were getting like, they booked their appointments. Oh my God.
Yeah.
It really like it really felt like, oh my God, they're taking their own lives. That's what it felt. And I had to watch.
Yeah. Yeah. I know. And so many people went through that, having to watch. But then, I mean, for the most part, most people are okay. I mean,
Thank
there are a lot of
God.
people who are
Well,
in.
yeah, I had to clear all of them. I'm not saying like I did the miracle, but I mean, like I'd like to think that that was some kind of help, at least what I tell myself. But yeah, it's just scary. What's happening now?
I'm gonna let Coco in.
Oh, all right. Anyone have any questions?
Okay.
Yes, I agree, Kevin. I think gratitude is the first step to tapping in to our abilities. Absolutely. To create the reality that we want. Absolutely. And just to echo in on what we were talking about earlier about hi Coco. Um yeah, like how we're not here really, like we're here to, yeah, we plant seeds in order like and use our healing or our way of being as a like a ripple effect perhaps, or to give people permission to be themselves, let's say, which I find is a, it feels free. I think like when I was faced with my mirror through Tina, it also it scared the shit out of me, one, but it also gave me the the safety and freedom to be myself or discover who that was. But yeah,
Through the eyes of unconditional love and acceptance.
right. And it helped too, like in my awakening or my like the beginning of mine was through information or through hearing something that just clicked my entire self to go into my awakening. So yeah. And it was from Oprah, of all people, of all devils. I mean, like
Mine too. Mine
yeah.
too. It was, well, it was actually an Oprah show on which they were doing a whole series on Eckhart Tolle. And I was like, oh, what is this? And I bought the book, and that book changed my life.
Mm-hmm.
So people can say what they want about the new age and lump everything and everyone into that and call it a deception. But a lot of good things have come out of it. You know, we have to
Yeah.
start somewhere. And for people who aren't ready for the soul trap theory, maybe they're starting with Oprah and Eckhart Tolle, you know, because I would never have jumped right into this. I was
No.
thinking the other day, my first, God, I can't find my words today. My first exposure to anything reptilian was through David Icke. No,
no,
it
it was
wasn't even a David Icke book. It was somebody who wrote a book about David Icke and the whole reptilian things. And at the time I thought it was completely ridiculous. So
right.
people have to start somewhere, and the new age is there, you know, at least they're getting something, some exposure to ideas and spirituality and those kinds of things. And, you know, some people do unfortunately stay there, and that's where they end their journey. But hopefully people move through that and come out the other side as they question things. And hopefully they don't land over on the other side into that like toxic pool that's happening over there, you know.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
totally. No, had it not had that awakening, the rude awakening, I'll call it, I never would have gone through the path that I had ever taken. Like, never. A lot of the events that had happened thereafter were what shaped or what had begun or the catalyst to really catapult me to where I am now.
Absolutely.
Hello, Abstract. We talked about you earlier about making a specific shirt. I'm gonna have to, I don't know what it was that we said, but yeah.
He says, I'm proud of you people who keep questioning and keep growing and keep digging and seeking truth. Don't get stuck. Yeah.
Yeah, you have to. You have to. It's sifting. It's literally just sifting. Like everything that is being thrown at us, it's kind of like all the sand. And then you get your little sand bucket and you have that little shaker. That's what you have to fucking do.
Yeah.
To find the diamonds, the things that are meaningful to you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But yeah, does anyone have any questions? Oh, don't worry about being late. You can watch the replay if you'd like. I mean, we just talked about our sessions and like what we do exactly. I think if people, because we haven't talked about that in a while, what we do.
Yeah.
What we do.
Yeah. And some people were like asking questions and wanting to know. So
Yeah.
yeah, there was something I wanted to say. I can't remember now. Yeah. It's hard for anyone to come out of the new age or Catholicism or yeah.
It's hard to come out of a belief, any belief system. Like when you're hardcore into it, that's hard. Like, cause yeah, the cognitive dissonance is really strong,
Mm-hmm.
very strong. It's like almost nailed to the cross.
Candace was saying earlier something interesting. I had a talk with Candace earlier, and she said that, I don't know if this came up in a session or something, but she said Allison was saying that everyone is born with a hole for some type of religion. I don't know if that's a hole in their energy field or something, but it's there and it needs to be filled with something, whether that's actual religion like Catholicism or Mormonism or any of those things, or the New Age, or even science has become its own religion, or even
Scientology.
yeah, Scientology, or even atheism in itself has become its own religion. So, yeah, I think humans are just built to fill that hole with something. That's an interesting topic. I've never heard that before, but
Well, it just feels like anything, like just a sense of belonging, community. We all want belonging. We all want community. We all want to be to resonate with something, or to feel like you can contribute or be part of something. I think that's all we want, really. It's a wound inside, a deep wound.
It's also what do you call it? Genetics, maybe, because in the olden days, if we weren't with a group of people, we wouldn't survive on our own. We needed community. We needed a tribe to be able to survive. Oh, and that just sparked a session memory for me. It's interesting how those memories are stored, because it's almost like I see the pictures of them, of our clients' session memories in my mind. And in this session, he was a native man. He was part of a tribe. And he had a vision, I think it was. I'm going to paraphrase because I don't remember it exactly. He had a vision that something really bad and dark was coming to their tribe. And he tried to warn everybody, even the medicine men and the chiefs of the tribe, and they ignored him. They wouldn't listen to him. So he left and went off on his own and watched from afar as the tribe was raided and killed. And then had to survive on his own with no one and nothing.
That reminds me of that movie we watched with the one that was directed by Mel Gibson. Remember, we watched it? It was so violent.
Oh yeah, that was so violent. That was so hard to watch. What was that called? The Apocalypto or something?
Yeah, that was really hard to watch. It was so brutal and brutal.
Yeah.
You could feel it. It's just like when he did Passion of the Christ too. You feel it. Whether that story was real or not, he really depicted like a very something within. Have you ever watched it? Maybe we should watch it.
Yeah, so there's something innate within us that needs to belong for our survival.
It's the connection part that we're talking about, which isn't a new age thing. That is just part of being human, and in this, all parts of yourself.
Right. And connecting not through belief systems, but just through our
It's hard too. Yeah.
You know, not having to believe like everything, agree on our beliefs, you know, like we can agree to disagree on things and still remain connected. I think that's where we need to be. And, you know, the whole plague thing that happened, like with you and your family, that's what you did. You said, okay, like I love you, and we're just going to have to agree to disagree and move on, not talk about those things, you know, and that trigger us, but just to love each other anyway.
Yeah. And if they do talk about it, I'm like, it's not worth it.
Right. And because you don't have the need to be right, which is another thing that we have, the need to be right. Or to say, I told you so, right? Hold on, let me let Book go back out.
Yeah. Yeah. It really hurt me before because it felt like I had to, because when you know you have, it's as if it's like a responsibility to tell them that there's danger, you know? It's a protection thing, but in the end, like you said, they're fine. Everybody's fine and dandy, and it's like, okay, thankfully,
Mhm.
it was never about an I told you so, but really for protecting them.
Mhm.
Although sometimes, yes, the I told you so's are more so for like acquaintances and people. But for family, it was just to save them, to help, to protect them.
Yeah. And there's a difference between fear and caution, right? Like, I'm going to look both ways before I cross the street
That's just what you do.
because of caution, not because
Yeah.
I'm afraid to cross the street,
No.
So we have to make these distinctions too between those things. Like, I'm not, yeah.
Well, I had to check in with myself too because of the codependency as
Mhm.
well, right? So
Yeah.
there's always a responsibility in again looking at your patterns. Like, am I doing it because it's like a wanting to gain control? Is it about whatever? But no, it's really because yeah, I want to protect them. It's like a love, unconditional love type thing. But of course there was like it caused a lot of like fucking friction inside even myself to have to, being sensitive and being like, oh my God, you could be witnessing a slow death, a slow kill, a kill shot, and it's out of your control. But I mean, you release the control and you see it's where your intentions are coming from, It's all going on.
Yeah.
Oh, good night, Kevin. See ya.
Good night, Kevin. Yes, you want to warn them of danger.
Totally. Yeah, it is hard. I mean, but like I said, we've come to a space of harmony and acceptance, and it's pleasant. It's not, it's okay. I'm okay.
Yeah, I haven't felt anything like weird from you. You've been spending a lot of time with them and been fine with it.
Yeah. Yeah. I just don't put the power on it. Like, I really don't. I'm there to,
I think the connection right now is so important with each other, having each other for support, because it is really fucking hard.
it is hard. I mean, how else are you going to have allies, real like allies, but family? I mean, I was close with them before, but I mean, through the separation of it and different belief systems that were like really clashing,
Mhm.
now it's like, okay, we're back in harmony and you come back to being allies.
Yeah. Something interesting too, another trigger word that's becoming a trigger word that just popped in. Candace was saying that she saw this like whole video and discussion about how the soul is a deception. Um,
Could be.
and how the use of the word soul.
Oh, didn't we see that as a different way in a session too?
Yeah. And I wanted just to talk about that real quickly. Yeah, there is
Mm.
a difference between the soul and the spirit. We saw that in the session. The soul is part of this duality. And
Mm-hmm.
the way you saw it was that it holds both light and dark.
Yeah.
And it's interesting. And then the spirit is like the God spark, the part of us that exists outside of these realms of thought and form. It's the part of us that's free. And what you saw in that session was that in order to unlock the spirit and free yourself, You have to find balance
Oh
between
yeah.
the light and dark, right? In the
Yeah.
soul.
Right. Yeah, because when I felt myself go, because there was like I remember feeling very much like pulled to one and then the polar opposite on the other. But then when I brought myself here, it was like this pop, and it was like it opened up, and then the spirit was able to come in and anchor its way through and would pretty much I guess determine or like who you are as a spirit, or like be free. Like it wasn't just, I don't know, it wasn't separate from you. It was really like integrated in or something. I don't remember
I think that's
to the
what
point.
happened to me when I had my near-death experience.
Mm, mm.
That makes the most sense to me.
Yeah. Yeah, I could totally see that and how that happened.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like you yeah, when you had the what's it called, your anaphylaxis or whatever. It's like when they gave you the shot, it's like you what's it called? You spewed out all the, like the dark side, the darkness. Or was like the hook and point of the spirit.
Yeah. Yeah, very interesting. So anyway, it's like everything's kind of being taken to when most people are saying soul, they don't know there's a difference between soul and spirit, right? So their intention behind it is usually to say, like just their consciousness or whatever. I think we need to be a little less extreme with the way we're uh yeah, just like getting on people's cases.
Right.
um
It's
and
taken too far.
yeah, and it's interesting the way you saw the soul and the spirit, and I ran across this NDE last night, which I posted in the community tab, where this lady meets with the Grim Reaper after she leaves her body.
Oh well.
Yeah. And the Grim Reaper is not dressed as the Grim Reaper as we know him. She said he was like beautiful and shimmery and those kinds of things, like light.
Like just doing
And
their job, like in the
he was
movie,
just
in the show Sandman.
exactly, that's what I was going to say. So
Oh.
he's just doing his job. He had a pair of scissors, not a scythe, a sickle, or whatever it's called. But he had a pair of scissors. And the scissors were to cut the silver cord.
What does that mean?
There's a silver cord that goes from whatever that is that leaves the body to the body itself that keeps us connected. And she said she saw all the other silver cords of all of our other lifetimes that were happening at the same time.
Mm,
And that's interesting because we always say there's no such thing as time. All the quote unquote past lives are happening simultaneously. All of the aspects of us are experiencing those lives right now. So technically, they're not past lives. And that's why they can affect our current life, because we're connected energetically and it's happening right now. Right.
right.
So she asked if she could, or he asked her if she wants to see one. She says yes. He shows her this awful life where she's in Egypt and she's a servant, and the king and queen hand her this deformed baby because of
Mm-hmm.
the inbreeding. This baby is deformed, and she
Right.
takes the baby, she goes somewhere and she gets poison, puts it in the baby's bottle, and basically kills the baby, takes the baby out of his misery that way,
Mm-hmm.
and he dies.
Okay.
So that's the life she was shown.
Well.
Then she's like, well, can I see a better life? A better one?
Right.
So he shows her this other life where she's like this little pygmy woman. She has 6 children. She's leaving um Oh yeah, Karen has lots of orbs all around her. You should take your blur off so they can come out.
Now I want to see her my bed sheets.
It's probably Karen's spirit flying around. They come out of her. It's the wildest thing. There's a video
So you don't have laundry here?
on our
Okay.
channel where you can see them all flying around. Okay, so there's this, she's a little pygmy woman. She has 6 children, and she's going out to find monkey brains for her children to eat.
That was the other one that they showed?
That was the other one that they showed her. And as she's going out to find the monkey brains, she looks back and the whole house is on fire with her kids inside. Yeah.
Oh my God. I'm so traumatized.
That's the better life. And then he says, well, are you, do you have trouble having kids in this life? And she says, and the way she's speaking of this entity, she feels him as an authority.
Right.
And she says, yeah, I've had 11 miscarriages.
Wow.
Because she killed that baby and those other 6 children died. That energy is coming.
Because she was looking
this
for
life.
monkey brains to feed them, though. Like that is not a good thing. Well, I mean, not the monkey brain part, but that she wanted to feed them.
Yeah, listen, I don't know how these entities work. Yeah, it does sound like the Matrix messing with her. And I was like, wow, that's wild, man. Like,
Wow. It's just like, what do you
wow.
say to that? Wow. Okay.
Wow.
Well, that sucks.
Yeah, but he did talk to her a lot about the difference between the soul and the spirit.
Okay.
He explained it all to her. So if you guys want to know more about that, listen to that NDE. It's kind of in the beginning, and she actually wrote a book about it too.
I was really hoping you were going to reveal it. I was like,
well,
oh.
She basically said the same thing that you saw.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Interesting.
In a different way, but it was basically the same thing. So I was like, wow, that's really cool.
That's pretty validating. That was a really big session that we did. I mean, where we saw that information.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That session that we're talking about is posted a while back. We posted that, right? Yeah.
Oh yeah. That was just from this summer.
Mm-hmm.
It feels like a long time ago, but it was just from the summer.
Yeah. And yeah, she says that if I can't remember exactly, but she said something about the soul is she explains it as if the soul itself is part of this puzzle. And if the soul completes what it came here to do, then it will go back and fit into that puzzle. And if it fits into the puzzle, then it doesn't need to come back again. I don't know what that means.
Okay. Because I was like, okay. Yeah. Where did you post it? You didn't post it in our...
It's in the community tab on YouTube.
Oh, okay. Great.
Yeah.
It
says she met the Grim Reaper on it or something.
Okay.
But it's on Jeff Mara's podcast. I like his channel. He reviews a lot of NDEs and he's a good host. He lets them talk. What else came?
And he listens?
And he listens. But yeah, so that Grim Reaper entity reminded me of the Sandman and how the entities operate in the Sandman. They're not these like evil, dark entities necessarily. There are demons. Right. But they're not these evil, dark entities. They're literally doing what they were created to do. And what they were created to do was work for the system. And also what they address in the Sandman is that they literally were created for our benefit, but they forget that they were created for our benefit and they get arrogant.
Yeah, it's like their consciousness or something takes over their whatever. Yeah, it makes you think. It really makes you think about this whole system, let's just say, we don't know anything, that if everything that is within this system is just functioning out of what they think they're here to do. So if an entity is born or a DFE and it's just like, well, I'm hungry. Oh, is that where I get food, Robert? Okay, so I'm gonna go to that victim over there and nom. Like, are they really that evil, or are they functioning because that's what they're supposed to do here? It's like the same even when you look at the demiurge. Like, I don't know who created the demiurge. Was it Sophia? Is that her? I
Yeah.
don't know what the story is. I
Yeah.
don't remember. But
Yeah.
that creation, it's like, is it doing it because it's consciousness, or it's free will was like, I'm gonna be evil or whatever? Or is it just, that's just what generates when you're in this system? Is the matrix just doing what it's supposed to? It's just trying to be devil's advocate here, because it's like, can you have, I'm not saying like accept it, but
So also,
then we can free ourselves from,
that springs to mind that other BQH session where that entity, so there was a dome and this person was up on top of the dome on Earth with this entity who was like patrolling the area. This was his job.
Mhm.
And she said when she saw this entity that it was not necessarily evil, but it was not good either. It was kind of shifting between the two, like back and forth, shifting between the
Yeah,
two.
that's like the duality within, or the
Right.
duality.
Right.
Yeah.
And he was monitoring and patrolling this area, allowing people to go up and down the elevator, depending on who they were. But she was viewing this, and he saw her there.
Right.
I should post that, and I'll post that session in the community tab too if I can find it again.
Yeah.
Because that's really interesting as well. And because he talks about also how to get out of here. I have to go back and listen to that. I can't remember now.
Yeah, that was a really interesting one. Because again, it was just like, he's mad, but then he's okay, and he'll answer my questions, but then he won't. And like, he's just doing his job. That was what it was said.
Yeah.
Like, he's just doing his job.
Yeah,
Like, he
he's
just has
like-
a job and he's just doing it.
Yeah, and he's like a gatekeeper. So if we do come in contact with these gatekeepers upon leaving the body, which is interesting to me, because why doesn't everyone see the Grim Reaper when they have an NDE, right? You would think everyone would see that entity, or maybe they do and don't recognize it as the Grim Reaper because it's an angel or something. I don't know. But that was the first time I ever heard anyone say they met with the Grim Reaper.
Yeah, that's
I
true.
forget. I had another thought, but it left.
Like, I saw the Grim Reaper in the flesh. Well, in a body. In the body. When my grandmother died.
Yeah. That's right. So how did you see it?
It was in a
didn't see
physical,
it.
well, it was in a physical form, because he saw me getting out and gave his condolences before she had actually died. And then, yeah, he was never to be seen again. Like, there was, I mean, how do you miss that? It's like a guy who was in a wheelchair with like, I think one leg amputated.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Yeah, you're right. Abstract. We are a spirit. We are a spirit. Absolutely. But yeah, just trying to figure this place out. So, I can't remember much else from her NDE. But she actually says that she was sent back here to explain them to people and spread the message of the difference between the soul and the spirit. So that's really interesting too. She was sent back with a mission, and she was told not to go preaching to people, but to allow people to come to her and ask the questions. So she's also up for receiving emails or phone calls. She gives out her email in
Oh, maybe we should have her on the show.
yeah.
That would be interesting.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool. It's true. That's not like the mainstream NDE advertising.
But the way she talks about it, it is, because I mean, it's a little different. Like, to us, we can look at that and see like there's something not right here. But for a normal person, they would look at that and say, oh, well, the Grim Reaper really isn't a bad guy. He's a pretty angel.
Yeah.
And
I think it's all again, it's an attachment to what one person sees when it can show up in different forms or different ways, depending on your lens or your perspective or what you're not expecting. I don't even know. There's so many factors.
Yeah. It's interesting nonetheless. I don't know.
It is really interesting because, like, when I saw that being, it was a little bit intimidating because I did feel that I was in the energy of death, and I'm not familiar with that energy at all. So it was really like, ooh. And it did bring up a lot of things in my body. A lot.
Interesting. Yeah, so then what would happen if you came into contact with that entity upon your own death?
I'd be like, oh, great. Hello, sir. I was like, where's my coupon to get out of here? Got my bus ticket?
Yeah.
I was like, cut it. Like, let's go.
I wonder what would happen if you were faced with that, or anyone were faced with that entity and actually asked the right questions or demanded to leave,
Yeah. Like, I like to go now, sir, ma'am, sir. I don't know.
I would ask the Grim Reaper for a candy bar.
Yeah, and if it was, I don't know. Yeah. I guess you just have to be able to trust in your feeling. We'll see. I mean, like, again, this is why I stopped my commands, like for when I go to bed. I stopped the commands of not traveling. So I'm purposefully asking to travel. We'll see, like trying to get to that lucid dreaming state so I know.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm tired. I think this was a good chat. It was much longer than I expected.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting it to be this long. We was going a tangent. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for all your comments and for being here with us again. If you like the video, please give it a like or whatever you want, or comment. We're always happy to be around if we can, and to share our life experience, and hopefully it resonates or validates something that you're going through or have ever been through. But yeah, we hope you have a great night, and maybe we'll be on again tomorrow. We don't know. Like, we don't predict these things. So it's really, but yeah, if you have any questions or topics that you would like for us to talk about, please shoot us a message in the commentary or email us. We'd like to hear from you. And yes, we'll see you on the next episode, rather. Have a great night. Sorry, I got distracted because I'm like, I want to yawn too. Have a good night, everybody.
Bye, guys. Thanks for hanging out. See you next time.
Peace.